my friends, welcome into the first episode of Football Manager 2020 on the channel. This is the beta save. What I tend to do with beta, I'm going to play the game how I want to play it and the things that I'm interested in. So if you look at, there's a bunch of really great content creators out there that are doing lots of really big clubs. I think I've seen 3 or 4 people doing Manchester United, which isn't really surprising because of how Manchester United's seasons have gone. But I'm not going to do a big club because I kind of like the small club thing and I like international. And I thought something that would be a little bit different would be to walk you through international management to see if there's any changes based off of FM19 going to FM20. So I've got lots of things I want to check, and I want to hear from you in the comments as to, hey, I've tried international before, but has this changed? Or like, what about this? I want to love to get those comments from you as I record this weekend so I can get that content up for you to show you the things you want to see. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button over there. And if you haven't purchased FM20, you're missing out on like 2.5 weeks of beta. The link is in the description below. You can get a massive discount at 2Game. It is literally the best deal you can get on the game, even including like on Steam. If you get a discount for owning previous versions of Football Manager, the discount at 2Game is better. You got to make sure you use my code GrayHairGaming, all caps, to get 10% off, and that's really on anything at 2Game. So check that out. But without further ado, my friends, I'm excited. They kind of surprised us this on Halloween, which is interesting choice to get the game up. But Miles from Sports Interactive said that was because they wanted to, like, they've got a bunch of new things for like long-term saves, and they want to give people a chance in the beta to go like to a 2nd or 3rd season to kind of test those things out. We're not going to get to see some of the contract things or player pathway stuff. That's coming in the full save, and I'll have a trailer out about what I'm going to be doing for the full save pretty soon. But I wanted to go through the international stuff because I thought it might be a little different than what other people are doing. So I've got, of course, the USA picked here. As you know, it's kind of like choosing Manchester United in the international phase, except, well, no, because the US has never done anything like Manchester United has done. So I guess that's not entirely true. I don't normally do this, but I'm actually going to disable player attribute masking for this one just because. And it's got the United States and then Sky Bet League 2, the Bundesliga. If we're going to go Germany, let's go all the way Germany. Now, you know, do we have Americans playing in the 3rd league? I don't know. The Mexican Promotion League. We're going to go down because I know we've had some players in Spain and they get loaned out. Why not? Let's go all the way. Let's go all the way. But this is what the screen, like, I like the look and feel. It is definitely still purple as it was last time, but I don't know. It just feels a little bit different. Maybe it's the fact that I was using the darker skin the last time I was looking at this. It says that recommended based on USA as your selected team to pick Finland, which I think is kind of curious. I'm not going to do that. I am going to do the big countries. And then I wonder if it's saying that because maybe MLS plucks players from Finland, but for like an international save, that doesn't make as much sense. But I'm going to add all the recommended ones except Finland. There's somebody who's going to be like, oh, you don't know about the amazing talent that we have in Finland. And you're right. I don't. All right, here we go. Series C, Portugal. I'm kind of the mind, right? If we're going to add a league, aside from England, because England's so deep, we might as well just add it all, right? All right, so do not add key staff. Do I add players to playable teams? It'll be fine. But I also always recommend coming up here. I tested this out earlier, if you could tell. I click large database because I want lots of players, and particularly, right, for a USA international save, I want to have international players based in the nation, players in nationality. So even if I didn't load the country, I want the players of the US nationality loaded. So it's giving me almost 76 or 78,000 players. Estimated game speed is 2 stars. I'm not worried about it. And we're going to click start game. And we're going to start it in January 2019. So it's kind of funny because it's like, oh, Berhalter got hired in December of 2018 and we fired him. So as I was saying, it's somewhat like Manchester United in terms of like not meeting expectations, like those types of saves. But we've not done as a country anything like Manchester United has done as a club, obviously. So it's not the same in that. But my idea here is 2019 for the U.S. men's national team has been an experiment year because 2018 was wasted. I feel like I talk about this a lot, but it's only if you watch my US videos, so maybe I'll remember to put a link up there. We wasted 14 months with Dave Sarachan, who was Bruce Arena's assistant. So when Bruce resigned, Dave kind of took over for 14 months so that we could wait to hire Greg Berhalter, who is the chief operating officer's brother for U.S. Soccer. So if you're not in the loop on that, that's what happened there. And because of that, like, he should have, if he was in place in 2018, he would have been able to experiment. He wasn't, and so 2019 has been an experiment, and it's not gone well because he plays a, traditionally, when I talk about this save being going back to roots, I'm talking, one thing for me as a challenge is, like, I have not been really good at playing, like, counterattacking football, and that's what the U.S. traditionally has been good at, is, like, relying on our physicality and our grit and our toughness and, like, winning the ball back and countering. We have not been tiki-taka. We've not been, gegenpressing and pretty passing. Like, that's just not what the U.S. has done. And so when I say back to our roots, that's what Berhalter has tried to do, is, like, this, like, whole system. And in my opinion, it has not worked because our players look lost. Like, players that are playing well in Europe, when they come to the U.S., look like they can't complete a pass and can't control a ball. It's been a year, right? Pretty much. So I went, okay, if I was going to do an international, we just did international on the last save with Ireland. Had a lot of fun with that. But there's some things that I'm curious about that I want to see that we'll talk about. But I was like, okay, let's do international, but let's do US. See if we can get better results. Now, maybe we can't because I've never done great with counterattacking football, but, there we go. The things that I want to see, and I want to hear from you in the comments up front, camps. Like, do camps matter? So what I found in the Ireland save is that, before the Euros, as an example, you would call in a camp of 30 players, right? And then you have to cut it down to 23, or a World Cup or something like that. So you got to get down to a 23-man roster. Okay, makes sense. So you call up 30 players, and then you cut 7. And, like, you don't get any camp ratings. You don't get anything for having called those 30 players. Like, there's no point to going in and picking the extra 7 players because you get no feedback as to their performance, if that makes sense, right? So let's say you had that number 23 on your roster had a really bad camp, like came into camp in bad form, whatever, and your number 24 had an outstanding camp. Maybe it would be justified to switch them, right? But you don't get any feedback. It's just like, hey, I recommend we keep these players. It's like, well, I like some, like, ratings for camps or stuff like that. I had issues with international captaincy where a player wasn't playing like with a club because he was getting old enough to kind of retire, and it automatically gave the captaincy to somebody else, and that made the whole squad mad. So things like that is what I want to see if that's been changed. So as you see here, I put this on Twitter. Apparently, if you look at my eyes, they're not, like, perfectly level with each other. I don't know if that's just a me thing. I should probably Google that. It makes me really self-conscious when I use the photo thing. Like, it's like, use your webcam. And, like, you pick the points. Like, you take a photo inside of Football Manager, and you take the points. And it, I mean, I guess that kind of looks like me, but, like, it makes me really self-conscious about the levelness of my eyes. Like, it's like literally like my eyes are like, maybe it's like that, right? Like, in terms of if this is a straight line, one of them would be in line with it and the other one would be above or below it. And it, like, really freaks me out. But that's, I thought I'd try it. This is why typically I just use the create a face thing inside of it rather than using my photo. But if we're going to be in the beta, I thought let's try it out, give it a whirl, because they did say that they've improved it. And then obviously if we're going to do, managing the U.S. men's national team, we're going to do a red jacket and a blue tie and gray pants with brown boots. Is that a thing? I don't know. We're going to just, I got in here. That's not actually my birthday, so don't worry about that. I'm just going to go based off of, yeah, there. We're just going to leave it. Start playing. I like the bluish green. I don't know. It's good. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. All right, so this is the new boardroom that they've been hyping up. I kind of like that. The photos, like the media. Yeah. could use some work on the hair. But I mean, I guess to be fair, there's not a whole lot going on. It might be different if you have longer hair. Let me know if you've got longer hair and you've done that. If it does it catch it? All right. I have no previous coaching experience. That would be something that would be interesting if you could create yourself a profile so it's not like you have no experience, in the past. Maybe that's something in the future for Football Manager. All right. So that's the new boardroom with the nondescript kits, but, change from last year. I like it. Justin Pell is my personal assistant. Hi, Justin. Captain's Michael Bradley. That's going to be, people are going to be upset about that. Rival Mexico, obviously, blah, blah, blah. So this is, again, it's different if you load up a club where it goes into a little bit more detail. So I'm curious to see how this works internationally. We're currently ranked 22nd for some, well, that's, okay, this is in Football Manager world. That's not actually what's happening right now. Highest ever world ranking is 4th. Like 1958 or something like that. Lowest is 36th ever. That's it. Okay. Various national stadiums, right? That makes sense because we don't have like just one play. We don't have a Wembley, right? So this is a new screen showing off the strength of the squad. Okay. Hot prospects. Christian Pulisic is a hot prospect. My friends. Oh my. Okay. Okay, this is January 2019. Nope, Christian Pulisic's definitely not a hot prospect. He is kind of like the most important attacking player on the pitch. Okay, so team report best 11. Bobby Wood. Nope. Josie Altidore. Yep. Lee Wynn, who has not really been called up. Tyler Adams as a midfielder rather than a right back or a 6. Interesting. Michael Bradley. Yedlin. Brooks, Miazga, Gonzalez, Fabian Johnson, who has been out of the squad and has not been called up by Berhalter, and Zach Steffen. So, interesting. Okay. Julian Green, Zach Steffen, who's here, Weston McKinney, Emerson Heidemann, whose career's not gone as some might have expected. Cameron Carter-Vickers is in the mix. He was on loan at Swansea at one point. Josh Sargent is in here. That's nice. Timothy Weah, excellent. Paul Areola. Ben Mines, don't know him. Sergiño Dest. Ooh. Is he declared? He has no caps, but is he declared? Because that just happened. If you have watched the news, he just declared for the U.S. over the Netherlands. Eric Palmer Brown, Haji Wright, Rubin, Delgado, Acosta, Zelalem. What's interesting here, Greg Berhalter? No Jossie Zardes. Zardes not in the mix here. One of the things I'm going to do here in probably the next episode or as part of this series is I want to take a look. I'm going to have a couple save files where I want to take a look at FM19, all the players that you would want to see and like what their attributes were from a US standpoint, and then FM20, because I'm curious with the researchers for Football Manager how their opinions have changed of the players in the US setup. So it may not be dramatic or it may be. So is that something that you want to see? And if so, are there players that in particular that you'd like to see? Because I've already got kind of a list going from the current-ish squad, but there's going to be folks that are like maybe on the fringe, or hey, there's an uncapped player that plays in Denmark or something like that you'd want to see as well. So if you want to add a player to that list, leave a comment below and I'll add them to the list here. All right, I got my save point. What's kind of interesting, having come off a 212 episode save with like every league loaded, and some of the experiments that I've been doing and vacationing, it's amazing how fast the game saves in comparison. It's like, oh yeah, you don't have like 6 bajillion years of data, like, oh, saved. So I've saved my day one save point so I can go back and compare attributes. All right, so this is what it looks like. Hey, you've been, welcome in. Here's our expectations. No expectations. So that's going to be something I would provide feedback on with the beta. Again, it is a beta down here, right? They'd like to welcome you to your new role and wish you every success with the USA. Your first game in charge will be this. I don't have any expectations. Okay, so typically when we have expectations, it would be... Isn't there like a board? Am I... Okay, oh, performance. There it is. I mean, we're not in the World Cup. I mean, it's 2019, so okay. Seeing how the team performs under your management. I think that should change, right? Like, maybe it's a small subset of people that do international management, but there should be expectations. You get hired in by the board of U.S. Soccer's, the U.S. Soccer Federation. There should be expectations. We expect you to qualify for 2022 or to, you know, whatever, get to the Gold Cup final, stuff like that, right? All right. So we're in charge of USAB, under 20s, under 19s, blah, blah, blah. Here's your coaches. Let's go take a look at the squad page. Okay. Okay, I'm going to have to change all of this because what I typically do, and again, I'd be curious what you do, is like I usually have like a bunch of stats here, a bunch of columns, their attributes, not their attributes, their star ratings, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna have to go in and change that. Obviously, this is international selection, so it's kind of looking at form and, you know, kind of boiling it down to the basics. But, you know, I want to see. Let's see. No, not general info. Not full player status. Club selection. Yeah, that's just something. That's on my list of things to, because this just came out and it was kind of a surprise. That's on my list of things to change. But here's the current squad. Let's go. Yarborough, Bill Hamid, Zach Steffen. Interesting. Omar Gonzalez, Matt Miazga, Aaron Long, John Brooks. Let's just look at John Brooks. All right, we got John's face there. Wait a minute. Okay, because he plays in the Bundesliga, and they've got the licensing with the Bundesliga. But there's also Tim Ream, who's with Fulham. Okay, I'm trying to find Bradley. Okay, so Bradley is with MLS. That's not included. I'm trying to pick out players. Okay, Christian Pulisic, not included, but Tim Ream is. That's interesting. So I haven't added a face pack or anything like that. I literally just want to play the game like core game. Anthony Robinson? Do they have an agreement with the championship? Maybe that's what it is. That's kind of interesting. I typically will change the colors, but I'm going to stick with the color scheme for now. Maybe I'll get used to it with the different, you know, typically like I have like dark green for like really like this 20, and then a lighter, I think, yeah, thing like lighter green going to gray, going to red. For mine, that's something that obviously you can change. Take a look at the contract info. It looks pretty much the same here. Again, I'm not the manager, right? So that's a little bit different. Here's what a report would look like on the national team. Okay, right. National pool. Let's see how this looks. Okay, again, I would 100% add things like their star rating. I always, in the Ireland save, I would add the, like, one of the columns would be how much they're getting paid. Not that that's a perfect indicator, right? Like, that players can definitely, like, as they start to decline in big leagues, get paid really well and not be your best option. But it is a decent indicator, at least for me, of like, if you don't know the players, it's like, oh, wow, this person's getting paid a lot of money somewhere. They have to be decent. Decent enough to scout, right? Something like that. We don't have a B team. That'll be interesting to see how that works. Under 20s. Okay, I like. I'm just kind of curious. That's interesting. We have some of the faces. I'm not sure why we only have some of the faces. That's curious. Under 19, so that's automatically. I didn't manage the United States in FM19, but I think that's an automatic difference to having all those different squads. I feel like B team has always been an option, but like, but I don't know who the B team would be. That's kind of interesting. We play Uruguay and New Zealand in a couple months. I can arrange friendlies as you would normally. That is unreadable. Come on, Football Manager. I mean, really? What are you doing? Okay. I like my friendly to be the first of the 12th and the 18th. So let's just try. We're just testing stuff out, right? So let's go with Northern Ireland. Huh? How about that? 6 from 12, normal. All this stuff looks, it's slightly different. The boxes are slightly different, but aside from that, off you go. Now, there's something. Maybe I have to click next, but usually you would see it as like a pending, friendly pending. I'm going to write all this stuff down from a feedback standpoint. Yeah, that screen, woof, is not readable. That's not good. All right, from a tactics standpoint, this is what lots of people want to see. It looks pretty much similar to the last time, but there are some changes, right? So the big thing here, you get a thumbs up. So if your assistant thinks the style of play would suit the players in the squad, okay? So like based off of your staff's recommendations, they'll say like, hey, we can do gegenpressing, we do wing play, we do fluid counterattack, okay? Like these other things, we're probably not right now, if it was a club or as a nation. With the players we have, that's probably not going to suit us best. Interesting, control possession is not an option. I'm going to say that a lot. I am, by the way, in case you're curious, wearing my unfortunate USA t-shirt. It's gotten quite cold here. 33 degrees Fahrenheit currently, which is like negative 42 Celsius or something like that. I don't know. So gegenpressing. Now, I'm not going to do that for a couple of reasons. One, it was pretty dominant last season. And two, I don't really think the U.S. would actually be capable of doing that. We've had a lot of injuries. I would go either wing play or fluid counterattack. But this is, if I'm going to call the series back to our roots, which makes me extraordinarily nervous, we're going to do fluid counterattack because I've never been able to get it work. Because that's kind of what, that or direct has kind of been how the U.S. has played well in the past. Is, again, physicality, lots of running, being defensive, and catching someone on the break. So we're going to try that. Now, the shorter, like, again, with it being fluid counterattack, I'm going to go with Josh Wolf here and go like, all right, so cautious, shorter passing, run at the defense, slightly higher tempo, narrow, distribute quickly, counter press, defend narrower, lower defensive line, lower line of engagement, more urgent, gets stuck in. So sit back, and then let's move forward. But move forward with, like, some decent passing. Versus, like, if you look at the direct counterattack, it's going to be pinging it up. I think that's actually more the U.S.'s style, to be honest with you. That's interesting. I'm just going to look at the differences here. I think I'm going to do direct. I think if we're going back to our roots, we'll do what he recommends, I guess. It's counterattacking either way. It's still soaking up pressure, but maybe with the passing capabilities we have in the squad now, like a Christian Pulisic, Paul Areola, some of the good wingers that we've got, McKinney in the middle, those types of things, maybe that'll help us out. And then it's going to help us kind of pick how we want to run this. Now, I like that as well. It's giving a recommendation for us to play 5-3-2, which is kind of hilarious. Just if you highlight, okay, it doesn't. If you highlight over, it doesn't. But obviously, that is our assistant again saying, like, I think you should play like this. I think we've traditionally played, not traditionally, but something more like this or like this. Right, if you've got a Tyler Adams and a Weston McKinney and like a Christian Pulisic or something like that with some wingers, a 5-3-2, I don't see where Christian fits in. So like we could do like 5-2-1-2, but I think I don't like having just our left back, right back situation hasn't been so amazing that we would want to leave them as the only people covering the wings. So we're going to start with something like this. And then if we want to take the easy route, right? Like we just quick pick. Now with that, you could set guidelines, which I like who's going to pick and based off of what settings, right? Like, is it just match sharpness or fitness or whatever? So you can, you know, you can pick guidelines, pick the unpicked positions or the entire team. So like if we put a player here, right, then we can say like, okay, pick everybody else. So like, hey, I want Christian Pulisic on the left as an inside forward. Pick everyone else, right? Like that's an option. You can pick a rotated squad. So there's lots of options here, especially for new players. If you're like, hey, I just want to pick a team versus like really getting in and looking at every single one of them. So I like that. I like that. So if we just do quick pick, let's just see what they pick. Bobby Wood, Christian Pulisic on the right, Fabian Johnson on the left, Adams, Bradley, nope. McKinney, also no, not there. Ream, ooh, like this is Sergiño Dest time. Brooks, Miazga, Yedlin, and Stefan. Okay, so that's what it's going to pick. I'm gonna spend some time and like really kind of like go through the squad, look at who's available, kick Omar Gonzalez to the curb, you know, things that you do like that. And then we'll kind of settle on those things. So let's go back to, oh, wait a minute. Where is Dest? Wasn't Dest on the squad? Am I just not seeing it? Let's just do this. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, this is big. This is how we're going to end this episode. We're going to ask Sergiño Dest, who just committed to the U.S., to represent the nation. This is because this is a feature in international, so I'm showing you a feature, and I'm also extremely nervous. Mate, you can be our left back until the end of time. We'll figure out how to play an inverted wing back that I've never done. Oh, no! So, Football Manager, I'm going to need you to update Sergiño Dest because he has now declared for the United States. So, how we would see that under information is it would say declared. This is gutting, unacceptable. I was counting on Sergiño Dest being my left back because if you look at the other options, my friends, you got John Brooks, who's a center back, Omar Gonzalez, who nope, Tim Ream, who is really he and Daniel Lovitz have kind of been there, but playing as like a left center back, right? So like what we've had under Berhalter is like the right back getting forward, and then the left back kind of scooting over and going to a back three. I don't want to play like that. I want to have an actual left back. So, all right, my friends, that's just a brief look at it. Here's what the nation looks like. No one has a face except me, and it's quite pasty. It's probably accurate. No performance expected competitions. We're not in any right now, so I'll have to hop that forward. Staff page looks pretty much the same. I'm kind of curious here. Yep, no wage. So that's the thing that annoys me about international management. But maybe it's a beta thing, but it was like that in FM19. But like, hey, I'm getting paid, right? Like, I'm apparently not paid at all. Probably fair. I'm volunteering. So I'll kind of go through this and figure some stuff out, and then we will come back, my friends, assuming that these friendlies stay put, and play Uruguay and New Zealand just to see what the match engine looks like. If you've enjoyed this, it is massive, of course, as you might expect with the beta, to hit that like button, leave a comment. Again, I know international is probably what most people don't play first, but I want to do something different during the beta. Maybe stand out from the crowd a little bit. So if there is stuff internationally that you're interested in or you have questions about, please leave a comment and I'll add it into the next video or the one after that. All right? We'll see you then. Have a good one.